Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We are diving into some really intense material for this deep dive.
Yeah, intense is one word for it.
I don't think I've ever been quite so disturbed by a piece of writing before.
I know we always say that, but...
No, this one really takes the cake. This excerpt, pasted text, is really something else.
Buckle up, folks.
Yeah, seriously. It's about this group of friends, right? And they think it'd be fun to spend the night in a haunted house.
As you do.
Yeah, as one does. One of the guys, Krack, he's kind of our main character in this whole thing.
Right.
It all starts in the kitchen of this creepy old house, and things get very, very bad.
Very bad.
Yeah. So, what really strikes me at first is the setting.
Oh, absolutely. It's so vividly described. You can practically smell the mustiness and feel the grime.
Right. Like you said, vivid. It's a total mess. Pots and pans everywhere. Strange symbols on the walls.
Oh, yeah.
Just like oozing this unsettling vibe. But Krack and his friends, they're just kind of joking around at first.
Not taking it seriously at all.
Yeah, like teenagers, you know. They're all, ooh, spooky symbols, and laughing it off. Which I guess is kind of understandable, right? It's like a defense mechanism, maybe?
Yeah, you got to try to stay lighthearted in a situation like that, right? I mean, I would.
Right. But then things start to shift. You can almost feel the energy change in the excerpt. Krack starts to feel like he's being watched.
Like something's lurking in the shadows.
Exactly. But his friends, they're still oblivious, just caught up in their own little world.
Yeah. That contrast is what really starts to build the tension, you know? You have Krack's growing unease on one side, and then his friends just totally carefree on the other. Like, snapping pictures, making jokes.
Not noticing that their friend is, about to experience something absolutely horrific.
Exactly.
And then it hits him, this invisible force, out of nowhere. It slams into Krack, twisting his body, like in ways that a human body shouldn't twist. Bone snapping. The excerpt really doesn't hold back on the gruesome details.
It's like something out of a horror movie. You can almost hear the sickening crunch.
Ugh, yeah. I mean, it's clear that he's in absolute agony. But here's the thing. The truly messed up part.
The friends.
Yes. The friends. They just laugh.
They just laugh.
They think it's a prank. They're taking pictures of their friend writhing on the floor in pain, maybe even dying, and they think it's hilarious. I mean, how?
I know. It's beyond comprehension. It's chilling.
It makes you wonder what's going through Krack's mind at that moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, at first, maybe he thinks it's a joke too, but the pain is so real.
Yeah.
And his friends aren't letting up.
Nope.
He must be pleading for help, but they're just not getting it. Imagine that. It's like being trapped in a nightmare screaming, but no one can hear you.
I get chills just thinking about it.
It's like the ultimate betrayal. And makes you question, right? Like, are these people just truly that callous? Or are they so caught up in this group delusion, this shared belief that it's all a prank, that they literally can't process the reality of what's happening right in front of them?
It's a fascinating psychological question. Like, is it a deliberate act of cruelty, or is it something more subconscious, Like, are they so determined to maintain their shared reality that they just block out anything that contradicts it?
Right. Like, their perception is completely warped. It actually reminds me of that Ash conformity experiment. The one where people deny what they're seeing with their own eyes just because everyone else is giving the wrong answer. Could it be that Krack's friends are so influenced by the group dynamic that they're, like, literally blind to the truth?
That's a really interesting connection. And it makes you wonder, how much of our own perceptions are shaped by the people around us? Like, how often do we go along with something just because everyone else is, even if we know it's not right?
That's a really disturbing thought.
Right. Because if that's the case, then what hope does Krack have? He's trapped in this horrifying situation, surrounded by people who are supposed to be his friends.
But they can't or won't help him.
They just keep laughing.
And the most disturbing part, Krack dies.
Oh.
He dies. And his friends. They just laugh it off. They don't report the incident.
No.
And later, they retell the story as this, like, funny anecdote, as if it's some kind of hilarious prank gone wrong. It's mind-blowing, really.
It's beyond disturbing. I mean, it really speaks to the power of denial, doesn't it? The human capacity for self-deception, even in the face of something so horrific. It's like they've rewritten the entire narrative in their minds just to fit their preconceived notion.
Yeah, it's like, what's scarier? The supernatural force that attacks Krack, or this human ability to just completely shut down empathy and ignore someone else's suffering?
That is the question, isn't it?
I mean, this whole excerpt just leaves you with so many unanswered questions, like, what was that force?
Right. What was it?
Why did it target Krack specifically? And why couldn't his friends see what was so obviously happening?
Yeah, and I think more importantly, it challenges us to think about our own perceptions and biases. Are we capable of seeing the truth, even when it's uncomfortable? Or would we, like Krack's friends, fall prey to the power of the group, potentially at the expense of another person's well-being?
That's the thing that's going to keep me up at night. It really makes you stop and think.
Hmm.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, stay safe out there and maybe think twice before spending the night in a haunted house.
Yeah, good advice.